Log 36. I'm recording this on the 27th of June. It's a Thursday, which usually I don't finish my workday on a Thursday, but given the last few logs, I wanted to have a break. I decided that on Friday, tomorrow, until Wednesday, I'm going to be having a break from the Stonemason and a break from art in general to do something else, to not even think about it. I've been trying to do that since a while now. I've been working on this theme since November, and I have only been able to sort of take a day or two within a couple of months, but nothing consistent as this current break. My hope is to sort of break some patterns and introduce a much more rejuvenated, at the same time calm version of myself that isn't pressured by, oh, I have to do this next and that next. Because every time that I would take a day off, I would still think about it and I would still do something along the lines of the stonemason, or in general my art, or something that is equivalent to an artistic progress on the things that I have to do. But this week has been quite simple. I was working on sections 7, 8, and measuring a little bit of the 9 and the correspondence and the overlaps of 8 and 9. And it's been well. I've enjoyed it. It was very, very simple to consider anything other than a nice, easy, sort of very straightforward situation. I did notice that I became much more proficient in the texture element of this medium, the graphite, and I was able to introduce very interesting ideas with how I'm gonna show aging in the tiles or the specific area of the wood. It has been very fascinating. I left the design with a sort of like a pillar that I haven't sort of did the shades and I haven't really elaborated other than just the outlines. And measuring wise, I have sort of finished section 8 and I need to measure number 9 and 10 and ultimately 11. 11 and 10 are sort of very similar, so not a lot of difference. So I have only 3 sections left and I've done quite a lot for this month. I've started on the 4th, I think. And up until now, this is going really well. I've learned a lot of things. And I'm excited about this break. I'm excited to have some time without having to think about the art and all that. But I will still be creating a log on Friday and posting it on the next Monday, just so that I can document how this break influenced me and what direction do I feel when that is over, and what I was doing in the meantime to bring back or to progress in a different element of this story. I'm excited to do some research, to be honest, given that the story that I'm creating, yes, it's a fictional story, but it comes from a part of our history that we all have lived. Maybe not us, but our us as a species and as a society. And I feel that it's crucial for me to do my utmost best to capture the fundamentals of that, so I can introduce it in a very specific way that I want my point to be across and to come across. So I'll be doing that at the same time. My hope is that by the end of this, by the end of Wednesday, or even if it takes the whole week, I think it wouldn't. What I would probably do is do some more measurements so I can finish off the whole design measuring wise, and then when I come back to next Monday, I can just dish out all the design, draw it, and then have all the shadows to do, which is another 2 weeks, I think. So the second week of July. But my hope is that after I finish the break, the 2 weeks will after will be the finalization of this design, and then I'm gonna be updating the roadmap, documenting what I've done, what is completed, and what is yet to be complete, what yet needs completion, and I will at the same time begin writing my flow resurface of the paintings in the catalog. I've been meaning to do that since a long time, and as I've said, as soon as I finish the 6 designs, is the perfect opportunity for me to do it and make sure that's out and ready, so that when I approach the other 3 designs that are left, to not be concerned about that. So that will be my way forward. Mentality wise, and how my brain is sort of closing in on this break and what I've done so far since the beginning, I feel a bit exhausted. I feel a bit sort of like, oh, it's gonna be a nice reprieve of a break from all this, and I feel I feel quite happy about me deciding to do this and going forward with this, and hopefully I can begin to see different perspectives, as I explained before. And in general, the way that I think is that the more perspectives you have on a particular question, the more you can elaborate on its complexities. And life is nothing but complexities. We wish to make it black and white, but the more you pay attention, the more you dive deeper, the more you understand how not at all two shades can explore and excuse any of our behavior and nature's behavior. So it's been a beautiful 6 design ladder climb. Doesn't make sense, but it feels like I've been climbing a lot. Climbing both with my skills and my thoughts and how I create my art. And it takes a toll on you, and especially when I am quite alone when I create them. And that's beautiful. That's what I wanted for this design and for this theme in general. The isolation helps me create something very personal. Because if you think about it, my previous theme, I was constantly questioning and saying to everyone who was present how the work in progress is going to go, how the next thing is going to happen, how this part is going to change or that part is going to change. And I would sort of constantly be communicating with people. But now that I don't have to do that, I don't have to communicate what's to come, and I just finish it, and everyone is going to see it when it's done, when nothing more could have been done. I feel that it's going to have a different feel both to me and to the audience when they see this, given that before they were taking an experience from beginning to the middle and to the ending, and they had a full picture of all the layers, all the colors, all the everything of that theme. And now you're going to be presented with the finished sort of art, and you will have to take your own journey. Yes, it's going to be through my words, through my guidance, obviously, but this time it's going to be much more personalized. And the whole theme, it's going to be just me, the influence that I have on myself, just myself. It's going to be, it has a bit of an echo chamber sometimes, given that I'm not able to sort of question, hey, I'm doing this. What do you think about this? You know, and when you open yourself up to those questions, you begin to have inputs from others to reconsider things. But now that I don't have that, I question something, and yes, I can answer it now, or I can answer it a week or a month later, and I can gather sort of offhand opinions without having to ask directly. But then the conclusion is going to be my own. So going in this theme, you're going to see myself. much more than the previous theme, given that I had a lot of influences from my school years to the artists that I've been observing, to the situations that I was in, and to the influence of the people and their words and their inspiration that was bestowed upon me. That was a completely different experience. To now that I don't have that. I don't have inspirations from specific movements or specific parts in my life. I have emotions. I have visuals that I've been. I have a purpose of a historical imprint in life that I have to depict. I have a character. I have to question that character. What is he like? What is he doing in this situation? What is his mindset on these topics that we're all living? But he supposedly lived so many years, seen many things, been in many situations. All that begins to create a different trajectory on how a story and both my mindset is formulating this story and designs and artwork and style. But primarily visually, what I create is a lot inspired and influenced by the golden era of Dutch painters. I've been in the Netherlands for quite a few months in the beginning of last year. Was it last year? Yeah, no, towards the end of last year. It was summer last year. And I've explored all these artists that made an impact from a young age on me. They taught me a lot of things, and now when I saw their paintings, I I understood a lot more things. Things made sense to me. Things clicked, and moving forward, I started presenting myself through their questions, and I took those questions and made them my own. Whereas before, it was more of a, oh, okay, I'm just gonna imitate this style. I'm gonna imitate this idea that it's visually pleasing. But now I made some decisions that are irreversible. As in, this is who I am, and not as a full stop towards the end of it, but more of this is something that makes me feel that when I see this or when I create this, I can feel represented as an artist, as a person, and as a set of eyes that goes through life. And I feel that's very important when anyone is to answer that stylistical question of what is your art style? What is that thing that makes what you create you? I feel that before I was still in primary school in terms of personality, and now I have graduated both high school and I'm towards university years, just ready out of the door to make it my own. And I feel with these three different arcs, we're gonna see that stepping out of it, that beginning to feel that this is the developed version of what I allowed myself to be. And I'm excited for that. And probably why I hold it so dear to me in showing it when it's ready versus showing it and then having to explain, oh, don't it looks like this, but then imagine if I would put this thing and that thing and then imagine this in this context. I feel that that's unnecessary. At least at this stage. I made a post on Instagram, not this week, probably last week, and I was saying how strange it is to be so isolated in creating artwork when I was so socialized, or when I was so socializing previously, and I was so enamored by conversations and putting myself out there. And I was saying that was a different extreme, and now it's the opposite end of that extreme. And I feel that a balance should be struck in the middle, but at least for this arc, it's not gonna happen. And maybe moving on to the second arc or the third arc, I can document it a bit differently. I can add some visuals to the logs, or I could do some special logs that have a bit of a visual audio audio and visual experience of what I was explaining and myself and all that in context. And that is really the um the drive that keeps me going is the idea that I can change and I'm susceptible to changes. And I find that beautiful because in one part of my life, when it came to art, I couldn't compromise and I couldn't do a lot of things. I just liked a couple of things and I would just keep going forward. But through the experience of my theme, flow, I began opening myself to it. I began opening myself to the changes, to the possibilities of doing something different. And allow and truly seeing that when you sit down and allow yourself time, you can depict and create anything. Just give yourself time. Restricting yourself in timelines and deadlines, it's great for a fundamental sort of don't let it become too loose. But within that time that you allow yourself, things will change, you will change, and things will shift very naturally. And with the shifts, so does the deadline needs to be questioned if it's shifting. Hence why I shifted the deadline so many times. And I'm not scared to do it again if it needs being. So I move forward knowing that I give myself the appropriate amount of time to create the desired effect. Um, Primarily, I think it's because I don't know how many times or how many chances I will get in life to do this. I've been fortunate enough to have things go my way that is going to allow me to completely focus on this sort of theme without having a lot of expenses for me to outsource myself in a different type of profession or do things that I wouldn't normally do just so I can get by. So having this opportunity, I am taking it to its 100% chance. So I can create this and at least feel that part of me, that uncompromised, passionate, and driven part of myself created yet another very personalized theme that explains both my mindset and both my desires in life and how I view life in the 21st century and at the time that I was depicting this on the 2024 and what came before it. I think it's important because we don't know how many chances we have on this, and that's why I take this very seriously. And I don't care if the money is insufficient at the moment because it's enough for me to keep myself going. I don't care about how much I'm gonna have or how much I'm gonna make because for the moment being, this is the most important thing. And when this is done and the response that it's gonna have, and I mean all of the arcs, not just the first one, then I can actively say now I can move or change chapters. And which is the thing that I kind of did for Flow as well, if we think about it. I finished I finished the streaming. I finished that concept. I learned a lot of things. I could have done a lot of things better in terms of marketing, in terms of how I could sort of approach that question. And I needed a break, and I took a break, and I knew in my heart as I was traveling that this burning desire to talk about the things that I was seeing and I was feeling was going to happen, and I just didn't know when. And as it was building up and building up, this this unfortunate slash fortunate moment of me having to come back for health reasons and having to do a checkup allowed me to sort of settle down again into my studio and say, let's do this. Let's let's start this new thing and see how it goes. And I realized the importance of traveling and of witnessing life before you go in and seclude yourself in your cave in whatever in that state that that you miss a lot of life just because you're trying to express or find the words, find the emotions to to articulate the things that you didn't know to become into a shared experience. And that's what I'm planning after this arc, is to take another trip. Maybe not as long, but enough for me to begin writing the second arc. Even though I know the context of it, like what's gonna be about, I haven't actually written anything. So maybe do some writing, do some fundamental sort of progress on how I'm gonna approach this. Because visually I have every faint and generalized picture in my mind. And moving forward, when I tackle it, I'm gonna sit down and sort of go into these arsenal of materials that I have and I've been gathering so far to come and introduce back into this theme and shape it and mold it in a way to fit those gaps or create new gaps and so on and so forth. So yeah, I'm gonna leave you with this. I'm gonna have a few days break, and the next log is going to explain what I was doing in those breaks and what I've learned from detaching. Thank you for listening, and let's see how this week treats us all.